Hello everyone, Hamas28 here, and welcome back to Seaopolis Submerged. Now, since last episode, I didn't do too much. I mostly spent time just gathering the materials needed to craft our next 3 keys. Some were easier than others, like the ocean key was actually pretty simple, because marine fabric is cheap, fish and fish fillet also cheap. Getting the heart of the sea was a little annoying, but pretty easy as well, because the prismarine essence is just made from prismarine, which was pretty easy to find. The shards was difficult, but luckily I already had an unpacking die, so I could just unpack some of the bricks I found from some of the structures. So overall it was pretty simple. Getting the squids wasn't too bad, because you can summon squids, and they seem to give you 2 ink sacs for the cost of 1, so it's kind of an infinite craft. Now getting all of the feathers for the air key was really annoying. So I ended up just crafting the chicken seeds, as you can see over here. Chicken. Just ended up crafting chicken seeds to get those, as I found that was the easiest. Because man, a chicken only gets you like a couple of feathers, and in total I think I needed like 150 to craft everything, but now we got everything. So now we just need to grab all of our dirts, green and yellow. We're going to need our feather blocks. We're going to need bottles. We're going to need air essence. Let me grab all of these essences. Earth, air, and water. And the floating blocks. So that should be everything needed for the air key. And it is. Now for the water key, we're going to need the fabric, fish bones, and lapis. Fabric, fish bones, and fillet. We're going to need a lot of lapis blocks. Only 12 actually, so not a ton. And I think that's it. So now we should be able to craft the water key. Oh, we're missing the heart of the sea. Heart of the sea. There we go. To make the water key. Then lastly, we just need grass, green logs, grass, green logs, and melon. Luckily we planted the melon a long time ago, so that was easy enough to get to craft our green key. And there we go. So now we can put away all the other stuff we don't need. Raw fish. And now we got everything we need. Our 4 keys. Why they're not sorted next to each other? Not sure. Kind of annoying. But now we have to go and find these shrines up in the overworld, which is going to be a little annoying. Now, I did want to craft the creative flight. I wonder if I could search creative. Yeah, there it is. The flight augment. But we're going to need some supremium, which is a little annoying right now. So I'll put that off until we need to fight the Ender Dragon. Now, if we come outside, we should be able to see the shrines though, because they're not that difficult to see. Oh, a shark. I haven't seen them since the beginning of the playthrough. They kind of just disappeared. I don't see any shrines. Where's my compass? As we could just locate them via compass. It's just odd I don't see any. Oh, wrong thing. How do I search with this? Right click. No, compass. How do I search? Let me wait for it to come down. Nope. I think it's shift right click to set it, right? There we go. Now we need to search for a shrine, Seaopolis Shrine. And that far, are you serious? That far, are you serious? Are you sure? It's supposed to be like that? Yeah, in the overworld. Huh. I mean, I guess if it's that far, it's that far. Huh. This is saying 177, but I'm pretty sure this is the shrine we're looking for. Let me grab my oh, I'm not wearing the right armor. Let me swap real quick. And take out these skeletons, because I'm pretty sure this is what we're looking for. I mean, it looks like a shrine, sounds like a shrine. What's that? Is that a turtle? Oh, it's adorable. Buddy, do you mind? Epic grab bag. RGB cowboy hat. Cool. Now it does look like it's up there, and I did not bring... Well, I have a single cobblestone block. Let me grab some of this dirt so we can climb up here and see what this is about. So there is the block, and I guess we'll start with the fire key, as that's the one I crafted first. Activating the fire shrine. That's it. That's all you have to do to get a fire block. Pretty cool though. I mean, it's interesting. And let's see, fire block can be crafted like that, and that's about it. So that's really all you have to do. What is that? I've never seen that before. Haven't seen that structure. But the loot is probably going to be mediocre, so I'll probably should just avoid it. So there's one shrine. I didn't pass by any on the way here, right? See, there's my base. There's the pirate ship I found. And not much else. So let's see. So this was still saying 170 blocks this way. So maybe if I keep going that direction, we can find another shrine. Huh, looks like there's also some kind of like tree forest island thingamabob over there. Interesting. I didn't really explore too much because it wasn't really needed. But I guess there was actually a reason to explore, as you could find like trees and stuff. But let's go up here and convert this into another shrine. Let's make this the Earth Shrine. And let's see, it's still pointing in this direction. Huh, I guess it's funky. It must be pointing at something up there or down there, because it is pointing to here. And it's saying there's another one off in that direction. That's not the same one I was at, right? Where am I? Oh no, it's pointing over here. Oh, I can see it. It's right there. Nice. At least they're all pretty nearby. Would have been annoying if they were all like kind of far. Now, some of the... What are they called? I always forget their name. The flying thing... Phantom, that's what they're called. Looks like some phantoms are starting to spawn, as it has been a while since I took a nap. Which is a little annoying. But we only have 2 more shrines to go. I mean, 1 more after this one. So we could go take a nap after we're done. And now we just need to find 1 more for the air key. And it's over in that direction. They seem to all be in like this same line, so at least they're all pretty close to each other. It's really annoying in like an exploration pack when you're going to look for something and they're kind of in succession, but they spawn so far away from each other. So it's really nice that these ones spawn nearby. Although it is interesting none of them were actually close enough to our original spawn. But I guess it does kind of keep the mystery, like you didn't see them until you have to go looking for them, you know? Reminds me of Ocean Block, where sometimes you could get really unlucky just because... Oh, let me fight this spider real quick. You'd get unlucky. So, oh, 3 phantoms. Okay, let me fight these guys. Actually, do I even have to... Yeah, I'll fight them. I'm sure I could use the membranes for something. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Grab this. Grab the air block. Eat this. Oh, right, Ocean Block. In Ocean Block, there were these structures that spawned the... What mod were they from? I forget what mod they were from. But they spawned these creatures that were really annoying and inflicted you with a ton of debuffs. Oh, and I almost forgot. I learned this a while ago. You can actually just type slash... Not home. Oh. See, that could have been bad. If you type slash spawn, it just takes you back home. That would have been really useful to know a while ago. Right, so in Ocean Block, there were these structures that were kind of like dungeons that were supposed to be rare, but because they spawned so many of them, you could have multiple of them beside your spawn, and it made traveling or building out really annoying. Anyways, now that we have our blocks, we can use it to make the I-core. Not the Ichor, the I-core. Now, before we waste these, we do want to craft more of these, so we can do it like that. And then just keep doubling it until we get like a stack. Or until we run out of fire essence, that's fine. And then just do the same for the earth. And then the water and the air. So it looks like we can only get 27. Oh, didn't want to put that in there. Which is... Oh, I know why. I completely forgot I did that. So remember how I said, oh, I turned off the phytogenic insulators? I forgot I literally unplugged them. That's why these guys only had a couple, because I'm not really using the other ones right now. But those ones, I don't think we'll need too many more, so I don't think it's an issue that they're still turned off. But that's funny that I completely forgot that. Now we can make Eye of Ender, and then combine this to make the Eye Core, and finish the Shrine chapter. And that gets us to the Eye Quest. Kinda boring. Usually this quest is... you're supposed to find these in various different places. We already have a couple of these, like the Wither Eye. Like that. The Black Eye is found in Buried Treasure. The Exotic Eye also found, or you could just craft it actually. Conduit. I could probably craft this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You only need 3, 6, 9. You only need 12 eyes to actually finish off the... whatchamacallit? What is it? The end portal frame. So you can kind of pick and choose which ones you actually craft. Let's see, this one takes sandy mulch, soul sand dust, red sandstone. Red sandstone. Can I just craft this? Or do I have red sandstone? Can I craft that? Most of this does seem pretty easy, although sandstone would be the hardest since I actually don't have a lot of sand. But you can actually just craft it out of the essences if I made them. And I think that's about it. Locate the stronghold. So if I do this, and type stronghold, I think it's this one. 1,700 blocks away. Awesome. Put this, put that. We're gonna need some warp pipes. Let me go down under the water and steal. Heyo everyone, Narration James here. Now, after wasting my time chasing after red herrings, I finally located the stronghold after following the Wither Eye for what felt like an eternity. Luckily, we can use the warp pipes to move between it and our base pretty easily. Then, looking at the quest book, I found that this was going to be a lot of fun. Emphasis on the sarcasm. Not only do we need 12 different eyes to activate the portal frame, we also need all of the eyes to craft the Ender Eye Curio that will let us place the eyes into the frame. Which means we're going to be spending quite a lot of time collecting random resources and making some eyeballs. So, ignoring the Wither Eyes as they're easy to come by like snow in the winter, I set sail for the treasure chest eyes. These are usually very tedious, more than difficult, because of the drop rate from the treasure chests, but either I have the luck of the gods, or the drop rates have been boosted in this pack, as within searching the first 2 treasure chests, we found 4 eyes in total. I always found the Black Eye to be the most annoying, because digging underwater is extremely slow, but with Ultimine we can easily clear all the gravel and sand pretty easily to reveal the chest. The next eye I set my sight on is the Redstone Eye because it looked pretty easy to craft. Redstone ingots are just iron and redstone, while pistons and signalum dust are easily made as well. It was a tad tedious making the redstone essence seeds, but since it's not that high of a tier seed, it went by pretty smoothly and another eye was obtained. Then I worked on the old eye. Because it only needed red sand and sand, all I had to do to get this eye done was make some dirt seeds so I can grow dirt essence and combine it with fire essence to make some red sand. At this point, I'm feeling pretty confident and I'm breezing through the eye production. This feeling is soon gonna fade as the remaining eyes were not going to be quite as simple. The evil eye is next on my list, and lo and behold, we do not have any carrots needed to craft the golden carrots required for the recipe. In this world, netherite is abundant, but carrots don't exist, and the only way I can get them is through random chance or by making yet another set of MA seeds and crafting them. The twinite ingots needed for this craft are also pretty easy as well, since they only need me to set up a pretty basic autocraft. But then here comes the trouble. Making nature essence seeds requires nature agglomeratic, which is made from potatoes, which we also don't have. At this point, I change gears and see if there's another eye I can start working on, as potatoes will have to wait. I pivot to the cold eye instead, as the only thing I was missing for this recipe was Blizz Cubes, which can be easily obtained by summoning a bunch of Blizzes via our summoning block. So after summoning and slaying a few dozen of them, I craft the water agglomerate and make ourselves one cold eye. Now we're in the ocean, and I forget what I'm doing here. I'm collecting a bunch of prismarine shards and crystals for some reason that I can't remember why. Then it dawns on me that the Guardian Eye is what I'm after, as its recipe consists of solely Hearts of the Sea, prismarine shards and crystals, and the Eye Core. So after defiling some sacred temples, we're back at the base and ready to craft yet another eye. I do make a small detour to explore some nearby structure and finally locate some potatoes. With those finally collected, we can make some nature seeds and get our carrots. I sincerely hope I don't have to make any more seeds. But with the nature seeds done, we can craft our golden carrots and make the evil eye. Forgetting about all the work I did for the Guardian Eye, I start working on the Undead Eye. This eye is fairly straightforward, as it only needs bones, rotten flesh, and brown mushrooms. After throwing together a crockpot and crafting some bone broth, the eye is ready to go and the Undead Eye is completed. I start doing a bit of work on the Nether Eye, but as you may notice, there's something I am not a fan of in this recipe. That's right, we're going to need the essence of nether stars. Yippee! To craft those seeds, we're gonna need some insanium, which takes a massive amount of infernium. So I rightly decided I'll work on that one later, but the components are pretty easy to get, and at this point I remember that I can craft the Guardian Eye, and that's yet another eye completed for the run. I then take a look at the Cursed Eye, and see that it needs a metric ton of blaze rods. It's not really much, but since I never needed the rods and just the powder, I didn't have any to spare. The Corrupted Eye lives in the same vein, and it needs crimson stems, which I also never collected. One of the other eyes also takes blaze rods, so I plan to head to the Nether to harvest the blaze rods and crimson stems in one go. Of course, I get sidetracked and make the mystical agriculture harvester to start automatically collecting our essence. The insanium won't show up by itself. This is subtle foreshadowing for when I learn that the MA sites actually do something useful. We're then off to the Nether to gather some materials. After ripping and tearing until the work was done, we pack our bags and head back to the surface world to craft the Cursed Eye. I then spend way too much time trying to craft lodestones, but when it's done, it's yet another eye finished and we can take the lost eye off of our list. It's at this point you may have noticed that the Corrupted Eye dropped off from the list as well, and you'd be right. That's because I'm a fool and I didn't hit the resume recording button when I crafted it, but I can assure you that crafting the 12 crossbows needed for the recipe was quite exciting. The fishing minigame was a surprise but quite fun. It's at this point I learned how to mystical agriculture, and our infernium production goes exponential. After spending literal hours making growth accelerators and upgrading the soil to tertium, we can now harvest stacks upon stacks of infernium essence with a single click, and yet this will barely scratch the production needed to make a single nether star seed. Now this is where things get funky fresh. Usually to grow nether star essence on essence farmland, you need a nether crux placed below the soil. To craft it would take another 4 insanium essence, and I do not have the patience for that. So instead, we opt for the workaround, which is nether star seeds in a machine do not need a crux. A couple swipes from our time in a bottle, and we can finally craft the Nether Eye. Finally, we get down to only 3 eyes, the Cryptic Eye, the Witch Eye, and the Magical Eye. I'm calling these the unholy trifecta, because we cannot craft any of them without first crafting experience seeds. And you may be thinking, well, what's so bad about crafting experience seeds? Sure, it's tedious, but the other ones weren't that bad. And the answer to that question is that I have never built nor needed a mob farm, so collecting the 4,800 experience points needed to fill the 4 experience capsules to craft the seeds means I have to spend an eternity fighting mobs just to fill them. To put the numbers into perspective, a single blizz when killed drops 10 experience, so if I stand here and slay 480 blizzes, I can collect the needed experience. Yay me. I quickly craft an AoE augment for the sword and get to work. By spamming summons, we can quickly get the needed experience and finally craft our experience seeds. At this point, I craft the Master Infusion Crystal because trying to keep converting Infernium Essence crystal by crystal is starting to be a pain. Now, there is a way to set up passive automation of Essence all the way up to Infernium, but that will take more Master Infusion Crystals, so I think I'll just set that up at another time. Anyways, now that we have enough experience, we can make some altars and finally craft ourselves one Cryptic Eye. Now that we have experience, the final 2 eyes will also be a lot easier. But while easy, the tedium does not elude us, as I'm going to need some spider eyes to make the Witch's Eye, and we haven't killed more than a few spiders this entire playthrough. So of course, I do the sensible thing, make some souls jars, feed them with string, and voila, it's a spider essence seed. Now we can just mix everything together, and we have one Witch Eye. Lastly, we finished the magical eye after all the work we did prior to this. This eye is fairly simple. We enchant some books, throw in some essence, add some bottles of enchanting, and the magical eye is completed. And with that, we finish the chapter on collecting every eye. Now we can finally piece all the eyes together and craft the Ender Eye Curio. And of course, this is the best part. Since we needed the eyes to craft the curio, we need to now make another set of eyes just to fill the Ender portal. Ain't that a hoot? Luckily, now that we crafted them once, crafting them again isn't all that difficult, just tedious. So after crafting a bunch of eyes again, we ignite the portal and head off to the end. Except not really. We're not going to fight the Ender Dragon yet, because we don't have any kind of bow or weapon, and while we could just use a bed to fight him, I think this is the time to upgrade our armor and obtain some creative flight. After many infusions later, we have creative flight and can easily defeat a measly Ender Dragon. So I craft some golden apples for regen, make some potions of strength, and we go slay a dragon and free the end. After a very quick and anticlimactic fight, we emerge victorious and take home our dragon egg, and the credits roll. We thusly skip them as we've read them tons of times already and it's not new information. And welcome back. I hope you enjoyed Narration James, but now we're back to the real-time version. So with the defeat of the Ender Dragon, we got a couple... What is this? Deathstone? Interesting. When did I get that? Gonna store that in here. I didn't die, so I'm not sure why we got that. There's our dragon egg, some ender pearls, and nothing else we should need. Throw this stuff away in there because we don't need it anymore. And in case you were wondering where the tertium essence came from, this was actually something I learned recently. When you slay the Wither or the Ender Dragon with an essence sword, they drop essence of that tier. So a really good way to get Insanium, well not Insanium, but to get Supremium in the late game, I think? Well, not even late game, I guess in the mid game, is you can upgrade the sword all the way to Supremium, and then every time you slay the Wither, you get a couple drops of Supremium, which is going to be really fast, since you can slay Withers pretty fast in this pack. Not sure if we're going to go all the way up to the Awakened Supremium Sword, I don't think it'll be needed, but that is an option you can do if you want. Now, we do have some time in this episode, because I think even with the beginning and the narration, we only clocked out at about 22 minutes, so it still gives me about like another 20 minutes of leeway for this episode, so we can start working on some of this automation in the end, the last 4 chapters for the pack. Now we did get a little bit of Dragon's Breath, so now we can make Dragon Steel Ingots, which are integral for stuff. What stuff? Not sure. Looks like for making the ultimate ingot, it does take 2 Dragon Steel Ingots and a whole lot of everything else, which is quite interesting. Neptune's Bounty. Usually you fish these up. I don't know why you would want to craft them, but I guess it is an option you can do, and that doesn't mean anything. And then I think you also use them for the upgrades, right? Huh, I guess not. I could have swore you used these for upgrades. I guess, what was it if I type into Yeah, Draconic. Oh, it uses Dragon Steel gears to make that for the 6x multiple, which is really cool. I was looking at the upgrades recently, and how do I say this? If I type thermal, it'll be easier to show it as I explain it. If you look, the first, well, not the first three, the upgrade 2 through 4 are kind of mediocre, as you see, because this guy is crafted from this basic upgrade, which increases fuel energy, well, decreases it by 10%, but gives you a maximum output of doubling it. Then the next one only increases that by 10%, without any loss in fuel energy. So it goes up to 10%, then 5%, 20%, but then the final tier is where you get that bonus. It actually increases both by a lot. The fuel energy goes all the way up to 1.1. You lose the output, but the fuel energy gets multiplied by 10%, which is massive. And I think that's kind of the same with all of the upgrades here, like the Twinite multi-circle injector, fuel energy goes to 1.3, and that's actually not that big of an upgrade. It's only an extra 5%, which is not that much. Yeah, they're big upgrades, but they're very incremental. But I mean, I'll need them for my dynamos anyway, because we're definitely going to need a lot of resources. But let's first make ourselves a Dragon Steel Ingot, which will take Apatite, 3 Dragon's Breath, and Netherite. Now, Dragon's Breath we can make with a Dragon Head, so I think we're going to head back into the End and see if we can find ourselves a Dragon Head in the End City. Now let's see, where did this send us? There's like nothing here. I can't even tell where the end island was because I can't zoom in that far. Okay, we were here. It teleported us over here, but there's nothing here. Is this whole place just empty? Okay, well it seems like the whole end dimension is empty, which I guess is why we got these dragon scales, because if you look, you can actually use them to make dragon egg seeds, which do take a crux, but then we can just grow that in the insulator to make essence, and using that essence we can craft a dragon head. So I guess that's what you have to do. Just a little annoying. They could have just included the generation in the end. I don't see why that's such a big deal, but I'll see you back in the overworld. And of course, the Insanium never ends. We're gonna need even more of it. So to make our dragon seeds, we need 4 Insanium, which has me thinking I really should just upgrade our mystical agriculture setup so I can just harvest a lot of it a lot faster and automatically, because it grows really fast, but I have to manually collect it. And this guy has okay-ish range, and he's fast. His upgrades are just a little annoying to make. Like this has a Prudentium, which increases the area by 2, so he's a 5x5 radius. The max is what, 9x9, so I think to finish the whole area, I would need like 4 or 5 of them. But with how much Insanium we're going to need to finish the pack, it might be needed, because there's also a couple of other seeds I want to get at the same time. But at least doing manually, we can get Insanium in like a couple minutes, so I'll just do that until we have our 4 Insanium. And like I said, after a couple of minutes, we have 4 Insanium. And what do I need else for this? We also need Prosperity Seeds. I swear, there's no other way to get Prosperity Shards except from Apatite and a Strainer, which is really annoying. It means I always have to walk back there just to collect some more. And now let's grab our Dragon Shard, Dragon Scale, and let's combine all of this together to make some Dragon Seeds. And now we can start producing our Dragon Ingots in moss. Now we do have to grow this pretty fast. So let me grab some of our, what's it called? I forget the name of it. Fertilizer. Fertilizer, get some of the essence real quick so we can make some more Dragon's Breath, and we'll put it right over here. And you can't fertilize it? Oh, I know why. I forgot. You need a crux to grow those. You know, I really wonder why in Mystical Agriculture they included a crux on some of these, because it doesn't really seem like it adds anything of value. You know what I mean? Because it usually just means, like for this guy, to make the crux, you need dragon scales, which generally means you just have to kill the dragon twice in order to start growing the drops. But since you could just ignore it by using other machines, it's like, what was the point? And this is really all they're for. They don't make it grow any faster, which is annoying. Creative Essence. Oh, it's only used for the ultimate component. I was gonna say, oh, is that like you can just turn it into more essence? No, it's just a crafting item. So we need this to make the dragon head, so we need 8 of it. Can I use this as fertilizer? No, I guess I would have showed it before. Because then once we have the dragon head, we can start producing dragon's breath from the strainer in glass bottles, which is pretty good. It's always a 100% chance. We will need a netherite or emerald mesh at the minimum, so that's the only bottleneck there. But other than that, it's pretty home going. So we go ahead and craft ourselves a dragon head using a blank skull, which will take some soul dust. Of course it does. Solium dust has to be... I don't want that. Solium. This guy... Always need more solium dust. Quickly convert this. Can I go faster? Yes, I can. Should probably just make one of the mystical agriculture furnaces. They go really fast. To grab this soul dust, throw that in here, and now we can use this to make that, to make this, to make this bone block. Throw that in there. Combine this with that, blank skull, and make the dragon head. Now there's no reward for this. It's kind of just a thing. And let's see, I should have a blank strainer right over here. This is good. Looks so silly. Got a couple of fish in there. Let me grab some bottles. Let me make some bottles real quick. Put those in there. And then we should have some netherite to make a mesh. You go in there, and now we can start making dragon's breath pretty efficiently. And let's see, I wonder, can I finally make my mesh upgrades? Because if you notice from a prior episode, I had all the autocrafts in here. They were just really expensive. No, we need more emeralds and bedrock chunks to craft it. And it's also 1,286 bytes, so I need more crafting storage. Grab that. And now what did I need this for? I needed this for the induction smelter, the dragon steel ingots. So now if I come over here, add this to our induction smelter, which is right over here, this one, right? Oh, it's full. I'm gonna need another one, or I can remove something. Well, these are all needed for upgrades. I guess I can remove the Invar for now. We're not really using a lot of Invar right now. And then I'll just upgrade it later. That in there. So now we should be able to request a single piece of dragon steel. No, we need bedrock chunks, probably to make the netherite. Which is annoying because the only way... Actually, it might just be in here waiting for me. It is. So now we dump that in here and request a single dragon steel ingot. And now with that, that lets us make draconic integral components and the ultimate component to make the ultimate crafting table. Oh, and then we need this. Why? Oh, I see. Neptunium ingots only drop from the chest or by fishing. So that's why there's a craft for it. So you can get around that. Creative Essence, the ultimate component. So we're not missing too much here. Really, all I have to do so far is just upgrade, and there's our ingot. Quest completed. Then make this guy, which will take more of everything. So to make a single draconic integral component, we'll need 8 netherite. No, gears take 4. So it's 16, so it takes 20 netherite to make a single draconic integral component. So I'm going to have to upgrade the base to actually support that kind of production, because I have been a little lazy with some of the endgame strainers, as you can tell, because they've just been sitting out over here. I need to connect this guy. Oh, this one's just slow. I need to connect this to our AE system to automatically get the chunks. These ones are good to go. These are always producing our solium and other stuff. So it's really just being slow on the bedrock, which means what I should do is I need to make the netherite seed and the emerald seeds, which at this point are pretty easy to get now that supremium is not that hard to come by. So I can start growing these in large quantities, which means I also need to upgrade our farming setup with more of these harvesters with more upgrades, and have this get dumped into the AE system as well. So how's our storage looking? Yeah, we're not even using... Okay, we are using more than half of our capacity, but these are the 1K storage cells. These can get a lot bigger. So this farm can definitely support it, and if I have multiple of these big harvesters, we can get a lot more efficient. So I see what I need to do. And then after we increase the supply chain there, it'll just be crafting a couple of items. Technium, what is this? Seaopolis is just a bunch of big crafts. These ones aren't that expensive though. Quantum compressor. Well, what about this? Technium. Luminescent shellite. Okay, some of this does get expensive. But honestly, it's not too bad. Shulker shells. Oh, you can make these with crying obsidian. Obsidian with the dragon head. Okay, so there's a lot of extra automation we're going to have to set up to get the resources needed. Like this is important. Getting meshes. But it's not too difficult, I don't think. It'll all just take a bunch of infrastructure work. The main thing that concerns me, though, is we're still running off of just these 4 generators. And if we take a look, 24, 93, 240, 240. So right now, running every machine, our 4 frost dynamos are still not fully under load. So we have room for more stuff. And then as I upgrade these with more augments and the higher level augments, we should be able to keep up production. So I think I just have to add a couple more frost dynamos, maybe 3 right here. Upgrade this insulator so he can make the ice a lot faster to keep up with the demand from the dynamos, and our power generation should be good enough. But now, you guessed it, I believe this episode has gone on quite long enough. I'm your host, Hamas28, and I'll see you guys next time.